Yes?
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay. Hi. Welcome. My name is Nicole Justine Cavanaugh, and we are here for the, I don't know if online you can see this mirror image, 3 barriers to creativity that heart-based entrepreneurs face and how to move through them. So for our online participants, I've been told to please click the blue question tab if you have any questions during this workshop. If you want to participate, we're going to do our best to answer your questions as well. I also want to thank the Center for Career and Community Engagement for hosting me. I feel very lucky to be here, to be able to talk to you today. It's pretty exciting. And I've also been told that this workshop, as well as the other workshops, will be on the CIIS YouTube channel as well. So it'll be in the archives, and you can access it there. Okay, awesome. Well, so who am I? Well, I work with smart, sensitive, creative women who are up to something big in the world, and they want to have that great success, and they don't know why they're not there yet. That can be really frustrating. So I work with them to help them unlock that power within them so they can fulfill their potential and really get the missions going in the world. And a huge part of that actually is creativity, right? So are you an entrepreneur as well yourself?
In heart.
In heart?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. And you are?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, hopefully we have some entrepreneurs online as well. And we know that being an entrepreneur can be really tricky. You have to do things a lot yourself. And the people who are going to be drawn to this are going to be those who are more creative, maybe a bit more spiritual, really wanting to do something to help people in the world. And so that's what's really important about this. It's really important to be able to expand who you are so that you can go out and do what you need to do. So what we're going to be talking about today is what stops you from that. If you have a big heart and you're really spiritual and you really want to go do something big in the world, why aren't you doing it, right? Or why aren't you doing it all the time, or as big as you can, or enjoying it as much as you want to, or letting that creativity flow? Because you're human too. Stuff gets in the way. So we're going to talk about what those barriers are and how you can use some simple tips to just move through them and create a really beautiful life for yourself. So you're in the right place. If you've actually started a business already, and you're kind of wondering, why have I lost my creative flow? Or you're starting a business, or you're thinking about starting a business. Any of that spectrum is totally fine. This will apply to you. So in a little bit, I'm going to share a bit about myself so you know who I am and why the heck I'm doing what I'm doing. And then we're going to go over the 3 barriers and what you can do about them, as well as the secret 4th barrier that kind of ties it all together. Whoa! Surprise! Wait for it. Also, at the end, if you're interested in the work that I do and you want to go deeper into it, I'll share a way that you can do that as well. So first, we're going to actually start with an exercise. We're going to do a kind of a journaling exercise. So get a paper and pen or something to write on. And it's actually, here we go. Pull this out. Use some paper for you guys to use. Yeah, okay, great. Okay, awesome. So the first question is, if you could create anything, what would you create? And this can be just let it flow. Don't worry about what that means or anything. So if I could create anything, I would create and just do a stream of consciousness, like make a list. Just start letting it flow. And see how many you can come up with in the next few seconds. So if I could create anything, I would create I'll just give you a few more seconds to wrap that up. I'm sure you have longer lists. Just see what kind of flows out of you naturally. Okay, so just wrap up that last thought. I love that you're getting into this. This is great. Okay, awesome. And so what came up for you? How was that?
It was good.
Did anything surprise you? Did something come up that was different?
I feel pretty clear on what I want, so nothing's surprising yet.
Nothing was surprising?
Yeah.
Did it feel good to get it out on paper?
Yeah, it's like a confirmation every time I write the same things down. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, so if you're writing the same things down, this is like divine guidance saying, hey, what's up? Nudge, nudge. Right? What about you?
Yeah, for me the same. I think it's just a summary of what I wanted, my ideas, and
Yeah.
some ideas from like 2 years ago, some are very recent, but it was a good way to make a summary.
Awesome. So some were from a while ago and some were more recent, right? So maybe some resurfaced again, but they've always kind of been there, right? All right, great. So why do we do this exercise? This is really about getting you in touch with your creative power and these urges that you have within you, right? Like, what are you wanting to create? You know, if you have nothing you want to create, then you're really out of touch with it, right? And that's okay. Just notice that. And if there's a lot that you're wanting to create and maybe you're kind of not doing it yet, well, what's going on there? Like, why are you stuck, right? And if you are creating some of them, right, then you're kind of more in the flow, right? So it's just kind of a barometer for, well, really, where am I at in my creative cycle, and what are the things that are coming through the pipeline? Awesome. So, and by the way, also, you can feel free to take as many notes as you want on today's workshop, and I will also send you the notes if you want that too, so you can be really present. So you can email me also for our online participants, Nicole@buconfidently.com. I wrote it backwards so that you can see it. Hopefully it's legible. And just put the subject line notes, and I will send these to you. I think that's that backwards. Also, if you want to be on my newsletter, if you want the newsletter as well, write notes and newsletter. And then I'll know that you want both. Sorry, I got a little messy because that's backwards. All right, awesome. So let's define creativity. Like, we're talking about creativity. Well, what are we talking about here? So what is creativity? Let's do a little brainstorming. When you think of creativity, what comes up? What's creativity?
Passion,
Passion,
flow,
flow. Okay, awesome. Passion, flow.
juice.
Juice, awesome. If our online participants want to chime in, go for it. You can put the Q&A tab in and then do that as well.
I think
Come on in.
something in your career, right? Yeah.
I just go to the room.
Something new.
Something new. Yeah, great. Something new. Like maybe original, right? Awesome. What else? So according to several online or some dictionary definitions, because, you know, why not check those out? One is the ability to make new things or think of new ideas, which you just mentioned, right? Another is the ability to, I love this one, the ability to transcend traditional ideas, rules, patterns, relationships, or the like, and to create meaningful new ideas, forms, methods, and interpretations. What I loved about that was the word transcend. That just really got me. Because to me, creativity, right, it's sometimes something that comes from us, but most of the time it's something that comes through us, right? It comes from like a greater power. You know, have you ever experienced being in the creative flow, right? Where just like time just like disappears and you're just like in it and it feels amazing and all these things are just kind of streaming through you, right? So it's this ability to transcend. It's like a higher consciousness that we can tap into, right? And it feels amazing when we do it, right? So we want to be able to get to this place. And we use this term creative flow a lot. But what does flow mean? Okay, so we have creativity as passion, flow, juice, something new. But flow, let's detail out flow. What does flow mean to you? Just throw out some ideas. Consistency? Okay, yeah. It's like like a kind of river that's like flowing, you know, right?
Also movement, kind of.
Is that E? Or no? Movement? Yeah, movement. I love that. Movement, good. What else?
Energy.
Energy. Love it. Awesome. Yeah. Additionally, in some of the dictionary definitions I loved, which were to circulate, to stream or well forth, to issue or proceed from a source, and to proceed continuously and smoothly. So if we put this all together, right, it's like being in the creative flow is something that's circulating, right? It's circulating from me to you, and from you to her, and from you, right? From all of us. It's circulating from God or universe or divine source or spirit or whatever our higher power is for us, through us, you know. It's also streaming forth, like it kind of comes from something, and it proceeds from a source. And I like to think of that as the great creator, right? The divine creator, like that's the source, right? And that's the source, depending on your belief system, it's like it's either within you or it's in the spaces in between us or it's in some other dimension, right? But it's something that we can all relate to because we've experienced bits of that, right? Kind of know what that feels like. So what it isn't is being stagnant or just doing the same things over and over and not creating anything new and just kind of being like, da, 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 da. And who gets bored by that? Anyone? Yes, right? It's like, because you guys are creative, right? You're like, I need to have that extra juice. So why is creativity essential in business?
Keeps you moving forward.
Keeps you moving forward, absolutely. So movement keeps you moving forward. What else?
Also because business is always changing, situation changes and you have to.
Absolutely. Your business is always going to be changing, right? And like as an entrepreneur, right, your clients are needing new things. Maybe you're developing and expanding your own consciousness. And so all of a sudden now you want to work with a different population or some other need arises or, you know, you're on your own path as well. So things are always changing. You got to be able to keep up with that. Absolutely. What else? I mean, that's pretty good. I was just wondering if there's anything else. You don't have to go. It's really about, I like the words expansion and evolution. Because really we're all here to evolve our souls, right? And to expand ourselves, to take ourselves to new great heights. And as our businesses are moving and changing, and as we are moving and changing, we all need to adapt to that. Is it okay if I erase this? You guys got this stuff? Cool. So I'll tell you a little bit about my story. I'll keep it brief, but I want you to kind of understand who I am. So right now, I'm working with gifted women, you know, who have a higher intelligence and who want to actually do something with the world, right? They tend to be really creative. They tend to, you know, want to contribute something to society, right? On a mission, right? I particularly love working with spiritual people. People on the spiritual path who are consciously on the spiritual path. Is that it's like they have this extra energy behind them, right? Like this extra juice. There's something that they can tap into, and they actually make progress a lot faster, I've noticed, you know, and it's not a judgment, it's just an observation. So, and why I love this is I've been on my own spiritual path for years and years, and I'm still on it, you know, I'm still trying to figure it out, and I keep running into these different crossroads. So, creativity has always been a huge passion of mine. It's always been a part of my life. I was really lucky that when I was younger, my parents had this gigantic bulletin board where my sister and I could put our artwork up and just be able to like enjoy it and be like, oh, it's on the bulletin board, right? And I still have that bulletin board. I use it as my idea board now, which is really fun. And so creativity was this really natural, instinctual part of my life. I was an art major in college, and then I taught art to elementary school kids as my first job out of college, but it wasn't quite it. And so I ended up working at other jobs in law firms, in publishing company. I started a master's in art therapy, and that wasn't quite right either. And I was like trying to find these different things. But looking back, I can see that I was always open to, wait, this doesn't feel right. I'm not in alignment. Like I need to like move a little closer to alignment, just a little bit closer, right? And at the time, it was really, really scary because so many people were saying, well, what's wrong with you? Why can't you stick with anything, right? And I just kept listening to that inner voice, like, this isn't right for me. This is the next thing, the next thing. And so, to be completely honest, I still feel like I'm in that, you know, I'm closer to the bullseye, but I'm not like in it yet, right? Like I'm kind of moving forward. Welcome. So, so creativity has been this really interesting, undulating path for my own life, where it's always been there, and I've then made sort of like material things more important. Or I've, you know, kind of thought, okay, I need to do the 9-to-5 job, or I need to live life a certain way because other people are doing that. And then I would shove my creativity aside. And then I didn't feel as alive. So I've had my own relationship with creativity where when I actually really let it blossom and where I give space for it to breathe, you know, my whole life transforms. Because creativity is not just about creating something, right? It can be about creating art. It can be about self-expression. but it's also about how you move and walk through the world, right? The kind of being that you are, and are you open to that greater flow? And that's what I've learned in my own journey. And so now I'm really helping people awaken to that within themselves, because I think it's really important, and I'm pretty passionate about it. So that's a little bit about me. I could go on and on, but just I want to give you like a little sense about kind of my mind frame here. So what stops us, right? We want to be in the creative flow. What the heck is going on, right? So who feels like they're in the creative flow all the time? Anyone? No, I'm seeing faces like, what is that, right? Who feels like they've been in the creative flow at least once, twice, a few times? Yeah, do you know what it feels like? Okay, cool. So we have a good vocabulary here. When you're creating your own business, especially as a solopreneur and as like a helping profession, you have a lot to do, especially when you're starting out, right? You need to do the client delivery, you need to do the marketing, you have to do the back end stuff, right? If you're fortunate to be able to hire people to do that, great. But a lot of us start off doing that ourselves, right? So it can get very easy to get out of that flow because all this other stuff, all this busyness starts happening. So what are some of the barriers? Barrier number one to creativity is this idea, barrier number one is this idea that we need to wait for inspiration. Waiting for inspiration. When we wait for inspiration, this is actually a very passive approach to life, right? We're not really being engaged. And when you're being engaged in life, in the creative cycle, right? Like that's part of the creative cycle is you're being engaged, and the creative cycle will engage back with you. So instead of waiting for inspiration, you actually want to create space for inspiration to enter. Well, so let's talk about these. So waiting for inspiration. Who has done this? Like, oh, I don't really feel inspired right now, right? Who said that? Like, well, it has, like, the thought hasn't really come to me yet. I'm just going to go ignore that and go do something else. Now, sometimes that can be a very good, purposeful strategy. Like, I need to clear my mind a little bit. I'm going to take a break and walk away, right? And if you're doing it from a conscious place, awesome. But if you're doing it from a distracted place of like, no, I'm not going to really honor my creativity. No, oh, well, inspiration hasn't hit, right? Then all of a sudden we start disengaging from our creative force, and then we disengage more and more and more, right? We start building that muscle. Creating space for inspiration to enter really means putting it first. Saying that this is so unbelievably important to me that I'm going to do this before anything else. So not when I'm tired after I've done my studies, after I've worked my job, after I've taken care of everybody else. Then when I'm totally exhausted, I'm going to do that side project. Well, guess what's going to happen? You're too exhausted. You're not going to do it. I'll do it tomorrow, right? Doesn't happen. I'm not talking just about, your typical, artistic projects, which are awesome, right? But any kind of form of creativity, you have to be building that as a way of thinking. So creating space for inspiration to enter, what I like to call this is a creativity practice. So there's 3 keys to creating a good creativity practice. Does anyone know what they are? Any guesses? I mean, I'll tell you, but just wondering. Number 1, sacred mind. Number 2, sacred space. And number 3, sacred schedule. Why are these important? Sacred mind is about clearing your mind space so that you are available for the flow to enter, getting away from the mind, right? So any kind of mindfulness practice, whether it's prayer, meditation, journaling, anything, walking in nature, something that gets you out of your mind, anything that gets you into your body is really awesome for this too. Sacred space, this is about the physical space. I mean, really, this is all space, right? But it's about saying, okay, here's my clutter-free desk, or here's my clutter-free area of my room, or a whole separate room, or I'm going to go to a different location that is designated and triggers this creativity, muscle in me, right? It can be out in nature, it can be whatever it is, but really having a physical environment. It's very hard to think when you have clutter everywhere, right? And you've probably heard of this before. I mean, I don't think any of this is really new information, right? But it's good to have it be reinforced because we forget it. We forget the simple things that are so basic in life. Sacred schedule. This is all about creating time. Not really creating time, but taking time. Saying this is so important to me then I'm going to take time, and it's sacred. So I'm going to block off time in my schedule to make this happen on a regular basis. So if I don't do it, I'm going to be too tired, right? But when you actually do this, what ends up happening? What happens when you put creativity first? Has anyone done that? Yes? Seeing some, I don't know, a little mixed reactions? Well, I'll tell you what's happened to me. When I got into a very unsupportive habit of waking up, checking my email. What are my clients needing today? Oh, I have to send out that newsletter. Oh, I have to do this. Oh, then then boom, boom, boom. And my whole day was like that. I was frantic. And then I was exhausted. And then the next day, right? And this just kept happening. And then I was like, okay, whoa, Nicole, this is not working. What can we do differently? And then I started making a sacred schedule. And now I have 2 hours minimum in the morning, every morning, to just connect with source and spirit, to connect to myself, to ease into the day, to reflect, read, go outside, meditate, whatever. And throughout the years, I've tried to make this more structured, like, okay, I'm gonna do yoga, or I'm gonna do journaling, or like whatever the thing is, right? So I've done pockets of time where I focus on one thing. And right now, I'm in a space where I'm integrating them. So I just wake up and I have all these tools in my toolkit, but I get 2 hours from 8 to 10 in the morning. I don't start any work until 10. I'm not gonna check my email until 10. It's really hard some days. I'm like, oh man, I gotta check my email. No, because the moment I do that, it's a slippery slope down to Nowheresville. So once I've started creating a sacred schedule, I think really, I mean, they're all important, but the sacred schedule creates a sacred space and creates a sacred mind frame. So that's really important. Any questions so far? For people here or online, by the way. We have online participants as well. Okay, awesome. So what I'd love for you to do right now is just kind of reflect, where are you at in this? Do you have a sacred mind space? Do you have a sacred physical space? Have you created a sacred schedule? And write down, what is the one thing that you're going to focus on creating for yourself this week? What is one thing which one do you want to focus on? And what's one baby step? Come on in. What's one baby step that you can take towards making that work? So maybe you can't take 2 hours in the morning yet, right? But maybe instead of having 0, you could do 15 or 30. You know, for example, maybe you have that pile of papers on your desk. That's, oh man, that's like, you know, I've been meaning to get to that. Well, it's really important because this is the stuff that's sucking your energy, and it's preventing you from connecting to your creative source, right? Maybe you want to start a mindfulness practice. 5 minutes meditation a day will do you wonders. So did everyone write down theirs? This is sort of like the action portion, right? And you want to put that in your schedule so you make sure you actually do it. Okay, awesome. So what is the second barrier? Can I erase this? Great. So barrier number 2. It's the idea of perfectionism and control. Oh, I heard noises. Resonance.
Yes.
Versus, well, we'll get to that in a second. So perfectionism and control. Who experiences this sometimes? Raise your hand. Oh, everybody, right? My way. I want to do it my way, right? Now, it's all good to be proactive in your life, right? Spirit helps those who help themselves, right? But like, if you're pretending to be in charge all the time for everything, it's kind of stressful. And when you're stressed, you're closed, you start getting constricted, you're not open to the creative flow, right? It's just not going to happen. I know because I've done it, and I still do it, right? I am teaching this, and I'm still like, oh yeah, no, wow, perfectionism rears its ugly head again. Like that's what's going on. I want it my way. So what's the opposite of this?
Flow.
Flow, space, yes.
She was gonna write something.
I'm going to write something, but this is related actually. Surrender and trust. This is probably a concept you've heard of, right? Concept you've tried, maybe succeeded at, right? The thing with surrender, and this is what I've learned from my own spiritual journey, I keep wanting it to be this destination, like, I surrendered, great, I did it, I'm done. No, this is a process. It is a continuing process of surrender, just like the creative cycle, right? You get some sort of download, you create, Then you see this thing that you created, whether it's for your business, whether it's personal, whatever it is, and then you're like, oh, what's next? And the moment you start trying to fix it and trying to make it perfect, all of a sudden you're like, I don't know what to do next. You just kind of relax and surrender. It will show to you what is needed next. Have you had that happen? Yeah, I'm seeing some smiles, right? So it's that place of flow and space, about being able to create that space within yourself and your life to say, you know what? Spirit's got my back. I don't have to do this all alone. Right? It's totally exhausting otherwise. So what are some of the signs of perfectionism? What happens when you get into perfection? We want to be able to identify this. So what are some of the signs, like when you're in that space? Let's brainstorm.
I have to clean my entire house before I can do anything else.
Oh, you have to clean your entire house, not just a little bit. Okay, so can we call that black and white thinking?
Sure.
A little bit.
Tell me more about that.
We're going to call that black and white thinking. So, for example, clean an entire house before you can do anything else.
Like it's all or nothing, you mean?
All or nothing, exactly.
Or like making excuses.
Making excuses? Yeah, like what? What would be an excuse?
Well, the same, like I need to clean everything, or
Yes.
I keep moving my desk around the room because I'm thinking this is a better space, this is a better space, but I'm like, and then I move the desk and then I rearrange the whole furniture, and like what?
Right.
Instead of just sitting and writing.
Absolutely. Instead of sitting and writing. Okay, so great. So this is the way you're not writing.
Yes.
But okay. So notice when we're about to engage in a creative activity, like writing, all of a sudden we need to rearrange the entire house and the laundry has to get done, and oh my gosh, look at that spot on the floor, and I need to go to the cleaners, and like, oh, these things, no, I can't focus, right? I can't focus, right? So that's also waiting for inspiration to come, which is the first one. And it's from a place of perfectionism, of like, it has to be totally perfect, I have to be completely in control, I can't let go. Right? So excuses will also lead to perfectionism's evil twin, known as procrastination. Right? We love this one. And there's nothing we love more than procrastinating on the things that are really important to us for some reason. What's that about? Right? Like it's super self-sabotaging instinct. So just notice that that's happening, right? It's not a place of judgment. It's just like, wow, like maybe some fear is coming up and I don't want to feel it. So I'm gonna go clean my house, right? But guaranteed, if you just keep your butt in that chair for like an hour, and even if you don't write anything, you build that muscle of, nope, I'm not gonna distract myself. I'm gonna sit here, I'm gonna do this. I started creating a writing practice for myself too, so I know exactly how that feels. I'm not currently in it, I popped out of it again, I will say. But I was doing that for a while where I was waiting for inspiration to come up. And then I was like, no, it has to be like completely perfect, right? And wanted to control when I was going to write. And then I was like, you know what? No, like at X, whatever time it was, I think I was doing it at 8 in the morning at the time. It's like 8 in the morning, I'm just gonna sit and write for half an hour, right? I did that for a month. You would not believe how many pages I wrote. I wrote like 60 pages and they were all like, I thought pretty wise, quite frankly, right? I would have never done that otherwise. Now it's all hodgepodge, I haven't put it together. But stuff came out of me because I just said, I'm just gonna do this and I'm gonna surrender, and I didn't know what I was gonna write every morning. I just sat down and I was like, what should I write about? And then a word would pop in. I was like, ooh, good topic. And then it's like, and all the stuff comes out, right? Is it perfect? No. But you have to adopt we don't have to, but it's good to adopt an experimental mindset, right? Because if we're going to be creative, it's all about experimentation, right? Like you can create anything. It's trial and error. Put something out there, see if it sticks. Do you need to fix it? Do you need to upgrade it, evolve it somehow? It's just a process. It comes back to that process of evolution, right? So evolution and experimentation. And if you can adopt this as a mindset throughout your day, because really what we're talking about here, creativity as a mindset, as a way of living and walking through this world, it's really about evolution and experimentation. It's not about, oh, I have to get it right the first time, or else I'm a failure, which is what we think. So let's just kind of do a little fun exercise. See where you're at now. Take your piece of paper and in 30 seconds, draw something. Doesn't matter if you're an artist or not, like whatever. So we're adopting the experimental mindset. Just draw something. And I'll tell you what we're up to after. And same for people on our Google Hangout. Just take a piece of paper and just draw something. You'll get something out of it. All right, let's stop. What was that experience like for you? Just want you to kind of tap into like what was going on for you. It doesn't matter what you drew, but it was like, what was the experience like?
This is a show. Oh, a little stressful.
It was stressful.
Yeah.
What was stressful about it?
Because I don't feel like drawing anything at the moment. But
Yeah.
I was told that I need to draw something, and then it's stressful to me.
Yeah. Okay, great. So just noticing that, like it was stressful because, so just to repeat for our Google Hangouters, you weren't ready to draw anything.
Yeah.
You didn't know what to draw, right? So it's kind of like the inspiration wasn't there. What do I do? Who had that experience too? Yes. So does someone have a different experience? Yes.
I also found it really freeing, like kind of
Freeing.
just like fun and like ooh, when I could let go of it.
Yes.
Manage both, I guess, at the same time, or I don't know if it was switching between the two or if there was overlap, but it's like okay,
Awesome. So it sounds like you were able to surrender a little bit,
but yeah.
and you were still aware of this part of you that was like, so you're holding both. So this is a good exercise to kind of train yourself that things don't have to be perfect. So if you want to be a writer, just start writing stuff like anywhere and everywhere. If it's not good, it doesn't matter. Just start building that muscle. If you want to draw, do that too. And actually, quite frankly, if you don't want to be an artist that draws, like still draw because it gets that stuff out of you. It doesn't have to be perfect because it's about the act of creation, not about the product of creation. Right? So remember, this is all a process, right? Awesome. And any other comments about that exercise? What else came up for you? Did you judge yourself? Yeah.
What if it's already in my personality? Like I'm just, if I don't do something, it's fine. But if I do something, it better be good.
Ah, interesting. Okay, so if you don't do something, it's fine. If you do something, it better be good. So I understand this very well because, like, actually, I would say I have a bit of that as well. And I'd be careful to like label that as your personality because then you're not going to be able to detach from that because that's who you are and you have to be that way all the time. So one way to kind of start detaching is to say, I have a tendency towards this versus I am this way, right? So, but that's perfectionism, right? It's like, if I'm not going to be perfect at it, I'm not even going to try because it's too scary to fail. Because it doesn't feel that way. It's like, if it's not going to be a perfect product, I don't even want to go there. Does that feel kind of true? Yeah. And I felt that way too, like so many times in my life. I still feel that way sometimes, but less, absolutely less, because I've adopted this experimental mindset, right? So, so with perfectionism, it's if you're not wanting to try something out of fear of looking like a fool or not knowing what you're doing, just notice that's probably perfectionism coming up, right? Because at the heart of perfectionism is a fear of judgment. That's really what it is. It's a fear of judgment that's operating here, saying, you know what? You better be perfect or people are going to laugh at you and it's going to hurt. So don't even try. Don't put yourself out there. How are you going to grow? How are you going to learn anything new if you don't try new stuff? Right? Like once upon a time, none of us knew how to walk. You know, that like this is the classic metaphor that's used all the time or analogy or whatever, right? Where babies are stumbling around trying to figure it out, right? Here we are. We know how to walk. It's all good. Sometimes we still trip, actually, by the way, right? At least I do. Okay, so we're good with this? Yes.
I think one thing I noticed was how much of like how safe it felt to do this. Like thinking like, okay, I don't really different that you're gonna put all of our drawings up there and like say which one you think is good.
Yeah.
Like if there was a big piece of like, oh, I trust you. Like there's safety in the space.
Nice.
But that's another piece that comes to me. Like, is this a place to do that? Like,
Thank you for
not
saying that.
enjoy myself.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So safety was what you were noticing. So safety actually this is a really good point. I'm really glad you brought this up. So safety, this is not one of the barriers, by the way. Safety, this is interesting because when we're building the muscle, right, of being able to be in this flow and surrender, we're kind of like, is it safe, right? And when we say, is it safe, we don't actually mean like, am I going to die, right? Please watch out for that, right? But it's am I emotionally safe, right? So in the beginning, when you're building this muscle, take it little bit by bit. As you're creating something, don't share it with anyone. You know, just and this is really what I tell my clients, like create something just to start the process of creation. But when you start putting the pressure on yourself, well, if I'm gonna write one word, it's gonna turn into an entire book and I'm gonna have to publish it and the whole world's gonna see it and oh my God, I can't even start. And it's like, whoa, calm down, we never went there, right? So it's like, just say, okay, I'm just gonna write. And maybe for a whole month, I'm never gonna share any of it with anyone, or for a whole year. or not till divine timing says it's right. And just give yourself permission. So there's a permission that creates safety, right? And a lot of this also has to do with boundaries, which we're going to get to in a second. But creating a boundary for yourself too, because let's say I said, okay, come up here and share it. And you were like, ah, right? You're at choice to say, no, I'm not going to do that. Or yes, okay, I will. And you get to choose what that is. Like, it really, really doesn't feel safe and I'm going to take care of myself. Or, gosh, this is a way to push through fear. I'm going to choose to do that, right? But it's like, just because I say to do it doesn't mean you have to. So we forget also that we're at choice. Yeah.
So the thing that I come up against, and I'm guessing maybe some of you do too, is as a student, it's often difficult to separate yourself from that outcome that somebody's going to see because you have papers due and your faculty member is going to read them.
Yes, because you actually are being graded, right?
Right. So it's hard for me to detach from that and step into the creative flow of just writing when I know I need to produce an outcome in a short amount of time.
Yes. Good point. So what I would recommend for that is write about something that has nothing to do with what you're writing about first. Just to get the process going. Because once you're in the flow, you're fine, right? So it's about getting in the flow. So if you're like, oh my gosh, I have to get in the flow by writing this paper that's going to determine my entire grade and my entire future, that's pretty stressful, right? Because now we're getting back to the black and white thinking. So create some safety for yourself. Okay, I'm going to write a poem for like 30 minutes, right? Or I'm just going to write about what I see in the room. Or I'm going to write about my day today, right? And just get the juices flowing. Who has heard of The Artist's Way? Anyone? Yeah, some people? Okay. So Julia Cameron wrote The Artist's Way, which, by the way, is a great resource to check out. It's like a step-by-step process on recovering your creative self if you've lost it. And so I've been doing her work as well. And one of the things that she recommends is doing morning pages. So you write 3 pages of journaling, of blah, 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 not perfect, just get it out. And then you kind of get that flow going. And it's worked wonders, I have to say, for me. Because you can just like totally vent and moan and be like, I'm tired and I don't want to do this and this sucks. And by the end of it, you're like, I'm ready for my day, right? That's great. So let yourself kind of have a little vent fest first and then work on your paper. And also safety is something that you build over time, right? So eventually, I mean, my personal goal, and you can feel free to adopt it, is I want to create safety for myself so that I'm not waiting for other people to give me permission. It's hard. I'm still kind of like, do you like me? Do you approve of me? Is it okay? Like, it's really hard, right? So it's just a kind of a thing to build over time. And you build it by really taking care of yourself and knowing that you can set a boundary and say no when you mean no, and you can say yes when you mean yes, and just practice that muscle, right? None of this is about being perfect. It's not about being perfect. Does that answer that question on safety? Okay, awesome. And does that answer the question, Audra, about,
Yep.
Awesome. Cool, so barrier number 3. Barrier number 3. Not taking care of yourself. So actually this leads perfectly into this, right? So if you're a heart-based entrepreneur, chances are you have a big heart, you want to help people. Maybe you're an empath, you're pretty sensitive to energy. Is anyone sensitive to energy? Yeah? Yes, absolutely, me too. Whoa. What's cool about that, by the way, is when you can fine-tune that, you can really read the room and really see what's going on. And if you know what to do then, because like one thing is to be able to read the room, but then you have to actually know what to do with them. Right, so that's a whole other skill. But it's actually a pretty cool skill. Right? So if anyone's judging their sensitivity, which I did for years, I'd be happy to talk to you about that afterwards. It's actually a real gift. So, but not taking care of yourself is a huge thing that loving people fall into, right? Everyone else first. When you take care of you, right? And then when you have your clients, then you're going to be wanting to take care of them, right? And how do you set those boundaries? You cannot be at 100% for your clients if you're not taking care of yourself. I mean, this makes sense, right? Emotionally, we're like, no, I'm going to stretch myself a little bit, right? But really think about this. And this has happened to me where I would let my clients kind of dictate my schedule. Oh, they couldn't make that time. They had to reschedule. Oh, I really want to help them. Okay. But then I'm exhausted. I'm tired. And like, that time didn't work for me. So now I have actually set times, and it's hard to keep those boundaries, but it's so much easier, right? To say, you know what, why am I doing this? Because I have to rejuvenate my energy so I can be there for you and for myself. So the opposite of not taking care of yourself is radical self-care. And I like to say radical because for some of us, we really need to it is radical to take care of ourselves. You know, we're all going to be on a different spectrum around this. Some of us might be already taking good care of ourselves, and some might not, right? Or at different times in our life for different reasons too. So what I do is I create a radical self-care plan with my clients so that they feel energized and nourished every day, right? Because if you're going to be running a business, if you're going to be going out there and doing big things in the world, just even if you just want to be happy, you need to be taking care of yourself. So what is self-care? What are some examples? Let's brainstorm.
Eating good.
Eating well, yeah. So how you eat. Sleeping, totally. What else?
Physical exercise.
Physical exercise, yep.
Relaxation.
Relaxation, good. Anything else?
Acknowledge and be okay with the negative feelings that you generate.
Acknowledge and be okay with what?
Be okay with the negative feelings or like emotions that you have.
Yeah, so being okay with your feelings, right? Okay, awesome. So acknowledging negative feelings and positive ones too, right? Negative and positive feelings. Great, awesome.
Social connections.
Yeah, social connections, awesome. Studies have shown that that's incredibly important.
Fun.
It's important. Fun, awesome, good. Fun. Awesome, this is great. So notice, a lot of these have to do with physical, right? This is a little emotional here. Here's we have some social, some fun, right? You've actually expanded this list really well because a lot of people will just keep it only in the physical category because that's what we think of. I'm gonna take care of myself by eating well or sleeping. That's absolutely important. I'm not saying it's not. But self-care is about taking care of all your bodies. Your physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. Right? And so, you know, so social is part of that as well. So right now, I'd love for you to create your own little mini radical self-care plan. I'm just gonna do a little mini one. So we're gonna have, you do 4 quadrants, you can also make a list. I'm just gonna make it visual since we're creative here. So we're gonna have physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual categories. And I'd love for you to write down one idea. It doesn't have to be perfect, but like one idea in each of these of how you can take care of yourself. This is going to be different for everyone. So what's one way that you could take care of yourself physically? Just a bit more. What's one way you could take care of yourself emotionally? A bit more. Mentally, spiritually. So does anyone need ideas or you got it? Got it. Awesome. Here you go. Good. Awesome. Yeah.
That some people will, like, clients who just change all this, they may think that mental, emotional, spiritual, it's all just one thing.
Mhm.
It's very hard to differentiate.
Yeah.
So
That's a good point. So sometimes it is they're all connected, right?
yeah, I understand, but as a coach, to break it down.
How to break it down? Yeah. So I mean, we are all integrated beings, right? But if you want, there are certain activities that will nourish a part of ourselves a bit more, right? And a lot of it's intuitive. Like, what do you need, right? Because, for example, we could say running is a physical thing because it really makes your body feel good. But for some people, that's a huge mental lift, right? Because they get that runner's high and they're like just not thinking, right? So for them, maybe moving their body is a way that they nourish their mind, right? Emotionally, the acknowledging the feelings is beautiful, right? It's like, okay, because a lot of us don't. We feel something, we smush it down, we don't want to feel it, right? So being able to say, wow, I'm going to honor my emotions, whatever they are right now, and just feel them all the way through, right? It's a way to take care of your emotional being. But when you do that, you're uplifting your spirit too. It's good for your body, right? I mean, so you can't really. It's all, yeah. So it's all absolutely integrated, right? But just to think of it in terms of an integrated model, so that you're including all aspects of yourself, and that it's not too heavy on one side or the other. Because some of us might be we're only taking care of ourselves physically and ignoring the rest, right? Or we're not bringing that intention in when we're doing the physical things. Some of us might be taking care of ourselves in a so-called spiritual way, like, okay, I'm going to go meditate, right? Or I'm going to go pray. But then we're doing absolutely nothing if we're eating crap for our bodies, right? Well, okay, so that's great that you're writing and meditating, but maybe you need to focus on eating some more nutritional food, right? So we can get unbalanced. Okay, awesome. Any other questions around this? Yes.
I was thinking too, like, if someone is focusing on their physical body, but it's actually causing them more stress because they're like being really rigid possibly about it, like that perfectionistic tendency.
Ah.
So it could actually,
Good.
yeah,
You could what? Ruin it, right?
yeah.
Well, okay. So if you're being rigid and perfectionistic, you're not in a space of self-care. Let's just call it what it is, right? It happens, right, to us. And when we notice ourselves being in this rigid place, self-love, compassion, right? This is not, oh my God, you did it again. Like, you're so perfectionistic, you're a terrible person, right? Because now we're just in the perfectionism again, right? It's just, ooh, wow, this is what's going on. Okay, let's take a time out, send myself some love, right? And just really acknowledge, right? Acknowledging where you're at. Something, maybe some fear is coming up, something to work through, a lesson for life is happening there. So you're right, if anyone's being too rigid or perfectionist about any of this, now you've lost the flow. Because that's back to controlling again, right? So some of it, you know, a lot of it's intuitive too. So I'm gonna put intuitive here because that drives a lot of it. Like really being in tune with yourself and what you need and honoring that on a moment by moment basis. Because maybe one day you need something and another day you need something else. Maybe in the morning you need something, in the afternoon you need something else. You get switches every single day, every single moment for this 1 week. Okay? Roll with it. Go. Good question. Anything else around this? No? Okay, cool. Okay, so those are the 3 official barriers. And then I also mentioned that there's a secret 4th barrier.
Whoa, blow my mind.
Okay, so the secret 4th barrier is a lack of commitment. I'm hearing some resonance. So obviously the antidote to this is commitment, right? And why is this important? Well, as with anything, if you're not committed, it's not going to happen. You have to be 2 feet in, fully committed, and then any change can occur, right? If you're kind of like, maybe, I don't know. I mean, maybe you'll inch forward a little bit, but you'll inch forward at the pace to which you're committed, right? And this is not about being rigid, right? It's not about like, oh, I'm 100% committed, oh, a warrior, right? But it's about, okay, are you actually committed to your creativity? Are you actually committed to your business? Are you actually committed to your self-care? Because we can all sit here and talk about it, like, oh yeah, self-care is great, you know, creativity, yeah, let's do it. And then you'll leave and then go back to whatever you've been doing. And I don't know where you're at in your journeys, right? So it's not about the judgment around it, but if you do want to make this a way of living, you have to be committed to it. Because it takes some change. Because if you're not living that way already, you can build those muscles, right? So right now, since we've been talking about creativity, since also we've been talking about entrepreneurship, and we've been talking about self-care, rate your commitment level in this moment on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest. How committed are you right now to each of these? And just really be honest with yourself. I mean, if you're not, that's okay, but then at least you know, because then you can do something with it, right? So, am I putting creativity first? Is it really unbelievably important? Am I really willing to go all the way with my business and help my clients full throttle? Am I going to take care of myself in a radical and nourishing way? It's really what I'm going to do. And I'm not saying you have to do any of these things, right? But this is just a measurement of kind of where you're at. Just take a moment to write down a number, knowing that those numbers can change. So what came up? Does anyone want to share? I mean, you can share your numbers, or you can share the process, or what you realized, whatever.
3, 6, 7.
What?
3, 6, 7.
3, 6, 7. Okay, 3, 6, 7. Interesting. So what does that bring up for you?
I have some business idea that I want to pursue, but I don't think creativity is the #1 priority to approach that. And I'm aware of the importance of self-care, and I think I'm pretty good at that. So That's why I rated 7.
So are you comfortable with your numbers the way they are?
I don't think I fully understand the meaning of like being committed to your creativity. I don't know exactly what that means.
Okay. So if you were fully, so does anyone else want to chime in on that? If you were fully committed to your creativity, what would that look like? What would it feel like? What does that mean? It's a good question.
For me, it would be those morning pages.
Morning pages.
I need to be in my creative flow in my writing.
Okay, great.
And I talk a lot about it, but I haven't really committed to doing that creative writing in the morning.
Okay, you just said a really key thing. You talk a lot about it, but there's less action.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if you're talking a lot about something, you're not actually doing it, then you're not in your creative flow. Right, you're not, because as we're saying, like creative flow doesn't necessarily mean like drawing something beautiful. It can be, but it's about like allowing those messages to become a clear channel for the divine to kind of come through. Right, to say, okay, here's what the next needed step is. Like even if it's a traditional business, right, that has nothing to do with art per se, it's like you're creative problem solving on your feet all the time. Your client needs this, what are you going to do about it, right? You said, oh, I don't know. Like here's what we always do things versus this is a unique solution, a unique situation that requires a unique solution, right? It's being able to like think on your feet, be able to be spontaneous, and not be able to kind of like shut down immediately or like out of fear, right? I don't know how to do this. I'm not prepared. I don't know. Okay, well, what can we do in the moment? What resources do we have available? Who can I talk to? How can we do this, right? Being able to kind of think like that. Okay, cool. So we do need to wrap up for today so far, but I wanted to ask you, has this been valuable for you?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Awesome,
Thank
great.
you.
So I'd love to just sort of take a moment to recap what we've been doing in your own words. What have been your takeaways?
Just do it.
Just do it. Go Nike. Just do it. Yeah, action, right?
Make commitments to yourself.
Make commitments to yourself. Love it. Okay, what else? You can just shout them out.
Be gentle with myself.
Yeah, being gentle with yourself. So important, because actually, you know, creativity and that flow and that way of being doesn't come from being rigid, right? It doesn't come from that controlling space. It doesn't come from doing a lot, right? It comes from just slowing down and being gentle, just letting it emerge. And then maybe you kind of pick up the pace and take that gentleness with you into the action. It'll be all very exciting, right? But it doesn't start off with, I'm gonna do this, right? Because whoa, it's very jarring for our like energy. Yeah, so being gentle with yourself. Cool. Anything else?
Stop being reluctant to get into the flow.
Yeah, stop being reluctant to get in the flow. I love that. And why? Why is it helpful to get into the flow?
Because after we get into the flow will reinforce ourselves. We don't even have the time to think about anything.
Yes, because the flow will reinforce you. I love that. It's a beautiful way to say it. The flow will give you energy. So if you're feeling drained, take a time out and get connected to the flow. That's where you're going to get all your source energy from. Right? We think we, just pounding along trying to do it ourselves, when really if we just take a moment to pause, right, and create a lifestyle in which pausing is acceptable, right, we're more likely to be connected and get a lot more done. We're actually way more productive when we're in the flow because we're not doing all the heavy lifting. The universe is doing it for us. Super easy. Okay, cool. So I will be available for questions afterwards if anyone has any questions. And I also wanted to offer to everybody here and also our online participants who want a free session with me, I'm offering a breakthrough into your creativity session for everybody here. So I'll pass around the clipboard and you can sign up for that if you want.
And we're just going to stop the broadcast.
Okay, but before you do that, if you're online and you're interested in a free session, email me at nicole@buconfidently.com with the subject line breakthrough creativity session. And then we'll hook you up. Okay, so thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. And I'll pass this out.